You seem like a pretty even-keeled guy. What gets you upset about this? Or are you? Is it just kind of business as
No,
usual?
actually,
You've been at it for 20 years. You've seen it all.
never seen anything like this. Where people, especially children, pregnant women, being poisoned with lead just to save money. And then the extent to which they went to try to cover it up, to deny there was a problem, what they did in terms of testing to make it appear that lead levels were lower than they really were. In terms of just the scope of the issue and how serious an issue it is, how many people are affected, I've never been involved with a story like this at all.
What is the big story here? I mean, there's lots of little stories, pregnant women, kids, schools, the infrastructure, the lead pipes. I mean, lots and lots. The government, the emergency managers. I mean, what is the big story here for you?
Well, it's a combination of the things that you just talked about. Certainly, the role of emergency management in this, and how emergency management created this crisis, which was a totally created crisis, could have been avoided. So that's one thing.
Okay. Let's say you're going to write a book. What's the title of the book about this?
I would say it's Fighting the Poison, because the big story is how citizens like Leanne Walders and Melissa Mays and the concerned pastors for social action, all these different groups and people who created this coalition for clean water in Flint and refused to accept the government claims that the water was safe, and kept pushing and pushing and pushing until they eventually forced the governor to allow Flint to go back to the Detroit system is the story. And in that sense, it's a very inspiring story about how citizens were able to, through incredible effort and perseverance, do what was needed to create change. And part of what they did was find allies. One of the allies that they found was the Virginia Tech, which did the testing and really did heroic work. They were working around the clock when the samples were being collected. Another ally was the ACLU of Michigan, which, this is not a traditional ACLU kind of issue, but because it stemmed from the taking away of democracy, we thought it was important to become involved, and freed me up to spend a lot of time with helping to coordinate and conduct the test with the citizens. And then at the same time, doing our own parallel investigation into how it was the city was able to claim lead was below the federal action level when Virginia Tech was finding it to be far above the action level. And they were basically exploiting loopholes in the law that effectively skewed the test low. So these are all parts of it, but really the inspiring and instructive thing to come out of this is how even when democracy is taken away from them, if people are determined and persevere, can win out against really incredible odds. I mean, you have all the power of the state that was working against these people. They weren't getting any help from the local media, who were writing these some of these activists off as being hysterical, or however else they might have characterized them. Certainly not giving them any credibility, and buying without investigating really what the government was claiming.